morning to all present here, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome the gathering for guest lecture on future of mobility. And I would like to say important a statement here. Whenever we try to invest our time, that is definitely going to give us a lot of benefits in the future. So whatever we are going to do now, that is going to have a greater impact in the future, right? We always talk about this past, present, and future, right? So right now, the topic what we are having today is going to be very much useful for you all, and moreover, the resource person um, who we have called is the right person to talk about this in all the aspects. So I take this opportunity to introduce our guest, Mr. Om Prakash, who have started his career from the year of 2011. So from that moment, he was in this particular field, and he is still there, and he have acquired a lot of knowledge, and he have worked in a lot of important areas, and also he worked as different responsibilities. So starting from the life cycle management, responsible to handle the entire product life cycle management, and to interact with the other company members, and in different cities. And right now he is possessing the responsibility of market research and a new launch strategy for Ford Mobility. And this is the experience of our resource person. And also I would like to tell an important statement about our resource person, that he have finished his B in the year of 2011 from Institute of Road and Transport Technology with a CGPA of 9.05, and he is a gold medalist. And moreover, he have a master degree from engineering and business management. Um, After his BE, he worked in a Nissan company. So from there, it is a sponsored master degree. So basically, from the company, they have represented him to take that particular PG course. So through that, he finished his master degree in engineering and business management in BITS Pilani. Okay, so I think in all aspects, a resource person is having a capability to touch upon the important aspects, and moreover, he is the right person, I think, to address the students at this particular junction. So with this, I would like to call upon our resource person, Mr. Om Prakash, to deliver his talk on future of mobility.
Thanks, Dr. Leela. So, for briefing a complete profile about myself. So, hope you are all safe amid this pandemic times. So, stay safe, stay healthy, and maybe we can start with the self-introduction. So, in over and above what Dr. Leela said, maybe I wanted to give a brief about myself. So in the year 2011, as Leela rightly said, I completed my automobile engineering from one of the tier 1 institutes in Erode. And then after that, I got campus placed into the Renault and Nissan Technology Business Center India Private Limited. It is more to do with the design and development of chassis components to start with. Okay, maybe I'll switch off my video so that you won't get distracted, so that you can have the presentation as a pin in your screen. Okay, so I started with design and development as my start of my career. There I was part of the chassis team there. I was responsible for multiple new launches. When I can name a few cars or brands like Renault, you know Renault, right? Renault. We call it in India. So I was responsible for the design and development of chassis components when it takes to a braking component or a steering component or a suspension component. I was part of one of the core team members there in the research and development field there. And I got an opportunity also to work with the Renault headquarters in France. So I was there for almost like 6 months delivering few projects. And after returning back to India, what I did is like I worked on few more projects like Renault Pulse, Nissan Micra, etc. And after completing my 4 years of experience in Renault Nissan, I joined the design and development team in Ford Motor Company. So Ford in Chennai, I was again responsible for the product development of the chassis components. I worked in that particular area for almost 2 years. Then I moved to new product development within the same organization. Then I was responsible for program management, the entire lifecycle management when it comes to say the start of any new project. So there are different phases in a new project. To start with the concept, we call them this concept. That is nothing but the skeleton of the new model what we are trying to develop. So after concept, there comes the design and development. So where we will have unique components in a car to be designed of what specification it is, from where we are going to develop that, etc. After that, we have a phase. We have multiple phases like we call them as design validation, then prototype build. We call as production validation, production tool manufacturing. Then it comes to trial vehicle durability test or the strength test or vehicle dynamic test. Again, after that, there are multiple phases before we launch any new vehicle into the market. So if you see the overall product life cycle of that particular any new launch is almost close to 18 to 24 months. Maybe we will have a separate session on the new product development if possible. Maybe today we will cover more about the future of mobility. So after completing my technical roles in Ford Motor India Private Limited, I moved to a entity called as Ford Smart Mobility. So that is also a group company within Ford. So there I have been there in Ford Smart Mobility for almost close to 3 years today. So put together, I have 10 years of experience in various different domains within the automobile manufacturing and development, I would say. And after joining Ford Smart Mobility, it was completely a challenging role for me. So I started this with something called as business development. So we will have different products within Ford Smart Mobility. How do we market that? How do we understand the customer requirement? How do we build solutions for the smart cities, etc. So I'll touch upon all those things, all those areas in the upcoming slides. Any questions, team? I just want this particular session to be more of an interactive session. It is not something like a seminar or a lecture to you all. So it will be more like a Q&A plus an interactive session, which will keep us engaged throughout the session. Any questions before we move on? Okay, I take the silence as there is no questions. Okay, this is the first slide. That is more about the future of mobility solutions, I would call it. The next slide, sir. The content slide, third one. Yeah. So today we will be, touching upon different areas in future of mobility. First, I'll start with something called as introduction. Then I'll go to the mobility products which are available all across India and all across the globe. Then I'll also touch upon few things on the new upcoming trends as a mobility solution. And after that, we will touch something on the technology leadership position, which is the key enabler, I would say, when it comes to any new development or what we call as future of mobility. So technology plays a vital role in that. And I'll also, during the end of the session, I'll give you some tips how you can build your own career being a mechanical student to meet the future aspirations or the market expectations, I would say. And after that, I'll quickly touch upon something called as supply market overview. Then how this particular mobility industry has taken up a hit due to COVID-19. Then I'll also have a summary on the key takeaways from this particular session. Then we will open up for Q&As. That is question and answer session. The next slide, sir. Yeah. So to give you all an introduction, what I would say is that there are different pillars within mobility. What do you mean by mobility? If there is a question given to you, can anyone answer? What do you understand from something called as mobility? Anyone have any idea, students? Come on, just open up. Whatever thought you have, you can share. What do you understand about mobility? Maybe Alan, you started off with the
Yes, sir.
introduction.
Yes, sir.
Can you
Movement
brief me a bit about mobility? What is your understanding about mobility?
to move
Yeah.
a particular object or ourselves to in a faster pace to another
That's
destination.
awesome. Yeah. Great attempt. Great attempt, I would say. Yeah. So mobility is nothing but moving either people or goods from one place to another is called as mobility. Just it is something like with an object or a human which is in a dynamic motion. Okay. And mobility in the modern world is completely driven by technology, I would say. Maybe I'll cover upon the deeper aspects of it in the coming slides. In this slides, what it conveys pictorially is that whatever it is, whatever vehicle form factor it can be, either it can be a larger fleet, or it can be taxis, or it can be personal cars, or goods carrying vehicle, or the public transports like trains or ferry. How do we connect it with the technology? When I say technology, there are multiple components in technology. The receiving end of it, how do we store data? How do we connect with the cloud? How do I API integrate application programming integration with the mobility platforms, I would say. Then how do we connect it to the end user? End user can be an engineering student, it can be a corporate employee, or it can be any human who want themselves to transfer from one place to another. Okay, so that's the broader idea about mobility. I'll touch few things in detail in the upcoming slide. Okay, next slide, sir. So is ongoing mobility products visible in your screen? Hopefully, yes. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. So when it comes to ongoing mobility products, there are different products all across India and all across the globe, I would say. And if you look at the pictorial representation here, you would have also come across few of them. And maybe the exposure levels might not be much higher since you concentrate more about your academics and about your exact stream what you're working on. I'll touch upon lot more things when it comes to mobility products. Okay, so to start with, the first one would be the self-driving car, which is assumed to be the future of mobility. So today, if you see, most of the cars are manually driven. Okay, and there are companies which are putting their legs forward in development of self-driving cars, and it is completely in an experimental phase today. And there are a lot more challenges also when it comes to a self-driving car, because the complete ecosystem got to transform, I would say. Because if there is a self-driving car in the market, it needs to communicate with the environment. When I say it has to communicate to the nearby vehicles. Okay, say like at what distance it is traveling at, what is the braking or acceleration being given by the neighboring vehicles? What are the obstacles around the vehicle? What are the blind corners? How do we communicate to the signals in a road? So all those are factors which got to evolve together to bring the self-driving cars into live action. So there are multiple experiments going on around this self-driving cars, and I would say there are different levels in which this particular automation is happening. So if I got to say today, there is no automation at all. It is completely manually controlled, and the human performs all the driving tasks when it comes to steering or acceleration or braking. Okay. And the next level, what I would say is a bit of driver assistance. So transforming ourselves from complete manual to a driver assistant kind of a model. Like the vehicle features with single automated system where it monitors the speed through cruise control or something of that sort. And the next level of automation, which we expect in the market, is more like a partial automation. So we bring in ADAS into the system. So the vehicle can perform steering, acceleration, and human still monitors all the tasks and take control at any time, any given time. So it means that the automation is partially fixed, but always there is a human intervention whenever it is required. And the next level is nothing but a conditional automation, I would say. The environmental detection capabilities, the vehicle can perform most of its driving tasks on its own, but human override is still required. So there will be a small assistance which will be given by human effort. Okay. And the fourth level, what I would say is high level of automation. The vehicle perform all the driving tasks under the specific circumstances. And there is a geofencing which is required. Human override is still an option. Okay, geofencing means that whenever there will be cross borders which will be fixed for all the driving vehicles. So once this particular vehicle is away from the lane or the assigned route, there will be a trigger in terms of alarm or a notification which will be sent to the driver there, where he can step in and take control over it. And the last level, the level 5, we call them as fully automation. Fully automation is nothing but the vehicle performs all the driving tasks under all conditions. There is a zero human attention required or interaction required to take control over it. And we expect this to happen in 2025 to 2030 timelines. So that's how the future of this particular self-driving cars is merging towards. And there are multiple startups and multiple conventional companies like Ford Motor Company, or it can be Hyundai, or Tesla is almost like a startup. There will be like General Motors or Volkswagen or Renault or Nissan are pitching themselves in to bring this into live action. And the next model of mobility products, what I would say is on-demand micro transit shuttles. So this on-demand micro transit shuttles are highly different from what it is today. Say for example, today if someone got to go to work, what they really do is they'll pull in their two-wheelers or cars and they'll drive back to their office locations. How does on-demand micro transit shuttle really works is that there will be an application which is going to be the heart of this particular solution, I would say. So this application will monitor everything, and there will be smart shuttles, I would call it. Okay, smart shuttles means that the shuttles will be enabled with all the facilities like in work office location. So it will be enabled with a desk for you, it will be enabled with Wi-Fi connections, it will be enabled with the charging ports, etc., where people can start working during their commute itself. And it has taken up a great start across the globe. And I would say Ford is also into it in India. And there are multiple experiments what we have done in multiple cities in India. Maybe I would say We started this in Chennai. We went to Hyderabad, then to Mumbai, then Pune, Delhi, etc. Okay, so all how it functions is like whenever we have a group of people working in a larger business park, I would say. So a business park means that a DLF is a business park. Okay, Ramanujam IT Park is a business park, or it can be Elcott as a business park. So when you consider all this business park where we will have somewhere close to 40, 50 clienteles there. Clientele means that multiple different companies like Cognizant or Wipro or HCL or Ford or General Motors who have their employees working from a closer vicinity, then it means that there are huge demand pooled up in a specific corridor. Okay, so the model is like when we have 1 lakh or 2 lakh people working from a smaller radius, how it performs is like there will be operations of vehicle at different timings. Say, if I got to take an example of Chennai, okay. So what this particular model really does is there will be vehicles which will be flying from different parts of the city. One will be from Villivakam, one will be from Ananagar, one will be from Adayar, one will be from Trivandrum, one will be from Solinganallur, etc. Okay, and all these vehicles will be flying at different timings. So there will be one schedule which will be at 8:30. There will be another schedule which is at 9 o'clock. There will be another schedule which is at 11 o'clock. Again, in the evening times, there will be a slot at 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, etc., where employee themselves can enroll into this particular platform, and they can commute between their home to office and office to home locations. So this has a greater advantage when it is taken into the market. I would say it helps the complete ecosystem. Again, when it comes to reduction in traffic, reduction in pollution, ease of working, the efficiency of working, everything goes up. So this is something like an innovative model which is brought into multiple stages, and it is in live, I would say, in almost all developed countries and as well as in India. Any questions, team? Maybe I want to give a pause in between so that you can open up for questions. Once I complete 2 pieces of it, I'll stop for questions, question and answer session.
Guys, you can unmute and talk, guys. Please be interactive, throughout this session.
Okay, that's awesome. So I believe so. I was really descriptive where you don't have any questions. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Any questions? Okay.
I guess no, sir. You can continue, sir.
Thank you. So the next comes the go biking or a bike sharing concept. So there are multiple experiments around almost all developing and developed countries. So we have similar go biking or bike sharing model in India as well. There are multiple startups within these. So the model is again driven by technology. So it means that a user got to download an application from the Play Store, and they have to integrate that to configure themselves, like creating a profile, etc. And what really happens is like they'll get all types of notification which says where the availability of all these go bikes are, what are all the parking slots available nearby them, what would be the charges, what would be the discounts and offering. Everything will be managed in an application. Okay, and again, this is something to contribute back to the environment, which is more of a non-pollution based commute solution, and it is open for anyone in public. So if you find today, if you come to Chennai, a city like Chennai, so in almost most of the metro stations are enabled with this type of go bike or bike sharing concepts. And the next concept is more about the self-drive car rental in India. Okay, so I'm sure that you all would have been familiar with Zoomcar. Okay, Zoomcar is someone who has taken most of its market share in India when it comes to self-driving rental cars. So this is something to bring an asset-light model to the community. So there are multiple pain points when it comes to buying a car. So you have to invest a lot upfront. You have to pay your premiums. You have to pay back your loans. You have to pay something for your parking slots in an apartment. Again, you have to fuel up your vehicle. You have to spend something more on maintenance, etc. So to bring an ease for a solution, on-demand rental solution, what people have done is they have gone ahead with a concept called self-drive car. So based on your convenience and the model, you can choose any car in the available list, and the car will be delivered to you. You can take this particular car for a trip or a drive and drive them back with a minimal rental charges. So this brings in lot more efficiency when it comes to buying a car. So buying a car in conventional days, it was a fancy thing. But today, if you see all the future minds, I would say, or the younger generation in the world, they are really sensitive about buying a car. That's how the trend towards buying a car is moving ahead. So you either you have a well sophisticated public mode of transport, or you go with newer models what these startups have taken up. So Zoomcar is concept of Zoomcar, I would say. It is not Zoomcar. It is a concept of Zoomcar is something seen to be a future for self-driving cars or rental cars, I would say. When I come to the next one, it is more about the first and last mile connectivity. I'll brief few things about what do you mean by first mile and last mile. First mile means that when you step out of your home, how do you reach to a public mode of transport or to a point where you can club with someone in a shared vehicle. Okay. So the first mile is something between home and the first point where you can take up a public mode of transport. Okay. And last mile means that how do you communicate from this particular drop point of from the public mode to your office or to your college or to your library or anything it can be. So how do you connect yourself from a public mode drop point to your destination is something called as last mile. Okay. And the middle mile is covered by either public mode or bike sharing or car sharing or some or the other means of transport. Okay. So what has taken a bigger say I would say leg in development is the technology of it. So the application development, which is with respect to the first mile and last mile, has taken up a great hit in last few years. Okay. And coming to the next one, which is nothing but a multimodal journey planning, we would call it. Okay. Multimodal journey planning, I'm not very sure whether you have been to any of the European or American countries. How this multimodal journey planning really works is, so you buy a single ticket. Okay. You buy a single ticket and you commute between multiple modes of transport. First mile, you will commute with your share auto, I would say. Second mile you will cover with your metro train. Third mile you will connect with your Ola or Uber. Fourth mile you take go biking like a cycle to reach your destination. Okay. So the model is like you can commute between multiple modes of journey and you can plan your travel combining all modes of travel with a single ticket. And this particular development again takes a bigger hit when it comes to technology. So there will be an application which will be developed which will connect you through multiple modes of transport, and it will clearly guide you or navigate you. How do you connect to each and every modes of transport? I would call it. Say it gives you indication like what it takes for you to get a Ola or Uber. How much is the waiting period? What is the cost from moving from one destination A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, and E to the destination. Okay. gives you complete plan about it, what bus to take, at what time that bus will arrive at your point. Then it will give you like what is the fare in a metro rail, what is the estimated time for commute between the first point to the destination in metro train. Again, what is the next easily available mode to commute to the next point, etc. So this multi-model journey plan is something again. There are multiple companies working among themselves and together along with the government of India to develop a smart city infra development project. So Ford is again, I would say, is one among those, and we are also taking up our feet in this particular area of developing a smart city. The next one, okay, the next one is something which is seen to be the future for next 3 years to 5 years, I would say, which is so close for a launch, which is nothing but the electric vehicles, we call them. Okay, electric vehicles have again taken up a greater start in different countries. So if you see today, there are multiple companies like Ford, Volkswagen, or Tesla, or Nissan, or Renault, who have heavily invested in the platforms like electric vehicle development. So all the conventional technologies like IC combustion engines, or either it can be petrol or diesel, etc., will be ruled out in next 5 years. That is how we see, and a complete transformation to a eco-friendly environment is something which is very much nearby, I would call it. And when it comes to electric vehicles, again, there is a lot more development which has to happen around us. Like, for example, the charging ports. How do you charge your battery? Or the life of the battery, the mileage of the battery. For example, if you do a full charge in a battery, what it takes you to? Either it is 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers, or 300 kilometers, etc. How do you commute to a longer distance? This is a bigger challenge today in a single charge. And as a solution, what I would say is there are multiple new startups who have taken up specific projects like battery exchange stations, I would call them. Okay, just a moment, students. Just a moment. Hope I'm again audible. Can you just confirm me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay. I was just swapping my headphones. Okay. So when it comes to the infra development for battery exchange systems, okay. So how it is like when you want to full charge your electric vehicle, it takes somewhere close to 8 to 10 hours when it comes to a 240 volt supply from a home. Okay, and when it is like a charging super fast charging stations, it takes somewhere close to 2 hours plus, 2 hours and more to get your complete battery recharge. So as a solution, what multiple companies have done is like they have come up with a smart solution, I would call them. Okay, the smart solution is like you go and exchange your batteries in a petrol pump or a charging station, I would say. So you will have a vending machine. You all know what is vending machine, right? Vending machine is something like where you have all these snacks and you put a 10 rupee note, or through Paytm you get a product out. So similar to that, these infra development companies, what they've gone ahead and done is like they are developing smart battery exchange stations. Every 200 kilometers or every 100 kilometers, there will be a exchange station. Like once you're running out of your battery, what you do is like you remove your battery, plug in into that particular vending machine. It will check what is the charge available, what it takes for a complete charging, etc. It will generate a bill. Okay, once you pay a bill, what happens is from a next window in the same vending machine, you get a new battery out. Okay, so you will again plug in your new batteries and you will move for the next to 200 kilometers or 300 kilometers depending on the mileage what it gives in an electric vehicle. So all this smart infra development has also taken up a bigger hit, and it is in action today, I would call it. And we can see them in next 1 to 1.5 years in India.
So if I got to give an example, there is a company called as Sun Mobility. Okay, what they have done is that they've partnered with Government of India, and they are setting up similar stations as a pilot in four different states, starting from Punjab, Maharashtra, Mumbai, Bangalore, etc. So all these are something like a transformation which is happening. And in the last slide I would tell you, like, how do you equip yourself for the future? How do you develop skills related to the future of mobility, which is taking a step ahead than the conventional vehicles, I would call it. Okay, the last one is more about the scooters, the electric scooters. So again, this is again a sharing concept where you rent out an electric scooter from the garages, I would say, which is built all across the smart cities. You pull in one and you take and drive it to your destination, and you put it for charging again. And this is again this is again feasible through a complete development over technology application, etc., which has again taken up a great hit in European countries, and there are a lot more startups which are exploring in India as well to start this with. Any questions in this slide, students? Okay, if not, Professor Sir, we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is more about the mobility solutions in offering when it comes to uh, uh, what we want to give it to the community. Okay, there are different concepts in mobility solutions as such in India. I would say there is something called as ride hailing. Then there is something called as ride sharing. We call them as car sharing, carpooling, micro mobility, etc. So we touched upon all these in the last slide, but I'll give you more broader idea about each and every model. So ride hailing is nothing but something which works on an app based model, where we have a licensed driver of any private vehicle or a public vehicle having an agreement with the sharing service providers. Say for example, it can be a concept like Ola or an Uber. If Om Prakash has 10 vehicles and it has drivers, I can attach these to Ola or an Uber. Okay, we call them as ride hailing. And there are companies who handle everything through a platform when it comes to booking, payment, settlement of services, etc. And these are all typically preferred for an individual transit journey. Okay, and when there is a concept called as ride sharing. Okay, ride sharing is something which is more like a complementing solution to a ride hailing. The only difference is this ride sharing will have multiple stops in between. I think you all would have been heard about a concept from Ola or Uber. They call them as shared Ola. Okay, shared Ola means that there will be two or three different customers from different pickup points. They'll share their particular ride in a route. Okay, there is a distance between there is a route between point A to point B, and there are two to three stopping points where we will pick up few more commuters, and we'll drop them at a different destination or a single destination. We call them as ride sharing. And there is something called as car sharing concept. Car sharing concept is again on a smaller term or a span car hire, I would say. So initially it was designed for a shorter route, but there are expansions around the medium distance travel as well. And today companies offer additional perks also when it comes to electric vehicles for sharing services. So these are all some concepts which are emerging in the working environment, I would say. What people really do is that they'll have two or three friends from the closer vicinity. Okay, so they will be residing in close by locations, and what they really do is they'll club together instead of pulling four bikes or four different cars, what they do is every day each and everyone will share that their particular ride between home to office or office to home. So that is concept called as car sharing. And again, conventionally it was more on a friendship mode. If I know Alan or if I know Mr. Ramesh, what I would say is, Alan and Ramesh, I'm commuting to office at this point in time. You please join me. It is more like a message through a phone or a text. But how the transformation has happened is, today there are multiple applications which has been developed today. Maybe these application, what it really does is, you can schedule your ride with your friends or your partners who commute between the same starting point to the destination. So everything is application managed, and also there will be few perks which will be credited to the one who is sharing the ride. Say for example, in conventional days it was really, say I would say, it is not something lively to take money from your friends. Okay, people don't take money really, and they'll say that, okay, come on, come with me, we'll share a particular ride. But what today it has happened is, if you go through an application, every transaction is very smooth. So if once you onboard four different friends from the same company, there will be a debit from their particular profile or from their account in the application, and it will be credited to the one who is offering the ride, the one who's taking up a vehicle and driving everyone to an office. So there is an incentive to someone who's sharing a ride. So this is completely technology oriented. There is no, say I would say, interference between um, physical cash transactions or something of that sort. And when it comes to carpooling, it is similar to a car sharing concept, but this has also taken up a great hit when it comes to a long distance travel. Say in a festival days, in festival times, it is very tough to get tickets in a train or in a public mode of transport. So what people really do is, there is a platform, either it is integrated in the corporates or an application which is provided by a startup. What people really do is, they'll post their schedule in that particular application. For example, if Om is traveling between Chennai to Coimbatore, what I'll do is, this is my route, this is the time at which I will start from Chennai, I'll reach Coimbatore at this point in time. If I schedule that, there will be three or four of my friends who will be happy to join me in a personal car. So what it really does is, this particular application shares money among each and every stakeholder, and it becomes easy in terms of transaction. Okay, and the last one is more about the micro mobility, I would say. Again, micro mobility is something what we touched in the previous slide. It is more to do with the scooters and bicycles, which are commonly used for micro mobility services. And most of these services are preferred in a short distance route, which is less than 5 kilometers. And if you see, e-scooters are very much prominent in countries like United States or Western Europe or Japan or South Korea. So all these are taking up a bigger edge, and we can foresee all of these in India as well, part of future mobility. Any questions, team? If not, maybe we can move on to the seventh slide. Okay. Okay, students, to keep you again engaged, this is something where I want to give you a broader idea about the technology engagement when it comes to mobility. Okay, there are three different interface of application, I would say. So one is the rider application, second one is the driver application, third one is the admin portal. Okay, so the rider application will take care of all the different features, like booking of a ride, getting the updates or notifications on that particular ride, how do we track and give feedback to the service provider. Everything will be taken care by the rider application. Again, it is more to do with a normal application which can be downloaded from a Play Store. And when it comes to driver application, it does lot more different. Say like it does a trip execution. It gives information about who the passenger is, where he is from, at what time he got to be picked up, what is his destination. Everything will be managed using this trip execution feature. And there will be a navigation tool which will guide you through either through a Google Maps or a Here Maps. What it really does is it will help you in locating where the customer is. How do we track him? What is the estimated time to reach to that point, which is the shortest route, which avoids traffic, which avoids toll, etc. Everything is managed by this particular driver application, and it also helps in tracking the vehicle. And when we touch the last piece of it, which is more of an admin portal, I would call them. Okay, this admin portal takes care of the entire trip management, I would say. The driver assistance, what are the next recurring trips, what are the live trackings possible, what are the number of fleets available in the market, how do we contact to each and every vehicle, who is the driver of it, what is his contact number, how each and every vehicle is geofenced. Geofenced means that if we have licenses to run all these vehicles in Chennai, it got to be running only in Chennai. So if anybody violates uh, the route or the radius in which he got to operate, there will always be an automatic notification which will be sent to the central command center, which is being managed by the admins, I would say. And everything is in terms of the transactions, the utilization of the fleet, the compliance in the vehicle, which vehicle has to go for a audit or an insurance or FC fitness certificate. Everything will be managed by this admin tool, and all these have taken up a bigger edge, I would call them, when it comes to newer technology. So I would say nothing is possible in future without a technology. So technology has got the bigger edge when it comes to mobility. Any other questions, team? Okay. And few more thing I want to cover in the same slide is how do we enable certain features like safe and secure feature. So there will always be a panic button which will be enabled in the rider application. If something happens in middle, if the vehicle is met with an accident, or if a specific driver is misbehaving with the commuters, there always there is a panic button. Once that panic button is triggered, there is a notification which will be sent in terms of escalation to different levels. And there is always a turnaround time where they have to address these issues. And if it is not really resolved, there will be an IVR which will be connected to the nearby police stations, I would say. And the call will be routed to the police stations, and the police can reach out for support when it is not resolved in a given tag time, the turnaround time we call them. Okay. And there is always something called as GPS, which is enabled in each and every fleets when it comes to the modern era of mobility. So all these vehicles are completely tracked and completely managed and monitored, I would say. And when it comes to flexibility, again, the user gets a flexibility like what mode of transport he got to use, or at what time he got to commute between different locations, etc. And all this is possible through the technology developments. Okay, if there is no questions, maybe we can move on to the next slide, Professor. Okay. So this slide talks more about the supply market and who are all the key players in India or across the globe, I would say. So in the platforms like ride hailing or ride sharing, you all know Ola and Uber today, but there are larger players again in different countries. If I got to tell an example, Grab is something which is very very famous in Singapore or in the Asian countries apart from India. So all these players are taking up an edge, stating that they're trying to integrate on-demand hailing services. They bring in the logistic and delivery services. Delivery, when it comes to, you would have heard about Food Panda or Uber Eats. Okay, Uber Eats is something like they deliver food for the public, or for the one who is looking for an order to be delivered. So these people were a partner with between the customer and the service providers. Say for example, they'll tie up with multiple hotels, they deliver things using the platform. Okay. And when it comes to car sharing, again, there are a lot more startups which has taken up a bigger edge when it comes to Zipcar or Turo or Get Around, etc., etc. And carpooling, we spoke about the concept much before, and it is more to do with the sharing of fleets. There are companies like BlaBlaCar or GoMore, etc., who are pioneers in this particular field. And when it comes to micro mobility, there are again larger players like Bird, Dot, Wall, etc., who are highly famous when it comes to bike sharing, bicycle sharing, and micro car sharing. And it is highly popular in US, Western countries, Japan, Korea, and they are moving towards the Asian countries as well, where India is seen to be the market with high potential, I would say. And moving on to the last one, mobility as a service. We call them as mass mobility as a service. There are multiple companies like MoveIt or Mobilio, etc., who plan a bit on multimodal journey booking, pricing comparison, routing and journey planning, ticketing, etc. So the best example I would say is like Book My Show. Book My Show is just a platform. They don't have theaters. They don't have customers, I would say, directly. What people really do is like they get into a platform like TripAdvisor or Book My Show to compare the pricing and offering. So what they do is uh, what is that is available in the market, where to get it at a competitive cost with quality and lesser turnaround time. So that's how uh, these service providers work upon. Any questions, team? And this particular slide is more of an self-explanatory one. Okay, we will move on to the next one. So this is something crucial and I would say very important to learn about. So any future mobility which is taking up a greater pace. Sorry guys, again, could you hear me? There is a call in between.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, impact of COVID-19, I would say that it has taken a great hit when it comes to public service provider companies. Okay. So everything has come to almost like an halt, I would say, in last couple of years. So when it comes to supply market, there were a lot more investment which has happened in this particular space when it comes to fleet or technology or manpower, etc., and it was highly underutilized, I would call them. And the EMIs or the bank loans went up without any business or revenue coming in. And slowly the companies have taken up strategies to move ahead with multiple other new initiatives within the same organization. And it is taking up a bigger edge now. And the impact is mostly because of uh, it is mostly because of the lockdowns which is happening across multiple cities. And we all understand that is something which is needed at current situation to stabilize the environment or to bring down the numbers in terms of COVID-19 to almost nil. So we understand that, but there are multiple industry which has got a great hit. And we would say the mobility industry is one among those. And the demand and growth, when it comes to demand and growth, there are multiple ways in which business activity can be enhanced. So when it comes to a preference from a private vehicle to a common pooled transportation, so all these has brought in the supply to be on the higher side. And there are also a lot more advancements which is happening in technology. I've already told you that the future of mobility is going to be nothing without a technology. So app based solutions or reducing the human interactions has taken up a bigger edge. And the artificial intelligence, when it comes to monitoring or what happens is like today applications can even recognize whether the commuter is wearing a mask, and what is the temperature of any commuter. Everything is being recorded today, and all this technology and advancements has happened during this COVID times, and it is going to be a healthy solutions in future as well. And there are multiple regulations and safety aspects when it comes to mobilizing these vehicles at this tougher times. So all these shared services are for a shorter span of time, and everyone is focusing on the hygiene and health and safety for of driver, or handling the luggages, or how do we record the health conditions through Arogya Setu app, or the different solutions which is available in the market. How do we do sanitization for the complete fleets, or the commuter, or for the driver? Everything has taken up a bigger edge, I would call it. And when it comes to growth of drivers, so the smartphones and internet penetration has taken up a bigger hit. And everything is like pay as you go and ease in availing. So so you need not own an asset today. That is how we see a future. Okay, you, as you move on, you will have multiple options to take on the way and grab it and utilize it. That's how it is seen to be the future after this COVID times. Any questions, team, about this particular slide? Okay, maybe if not, we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this is something more important, I would say. How do we transform ourselves from a conventional world to a new edge technology? Okay, what are all the key takeaways from this future of mobility? I would call them as I would say that being a mechanical engineer, do not constrain yourself in learning the conventional techniques or mechanisms, or the conventional part of it alone. So move ahead in understanding more about electric vehicles, what it takes to transform these conventional vehicles to an electric vehicle, what it takes up to design it, what are all the new technologies like embedded technology you got to bring in, etc. So the world which was looking at theoretical knowledge has gone away. Okay, and what we really study in the colleges is not only something which will help you in shaping up your future. I would say that today of the field of automobile is completely transformed. Earlier, if you see, the field of automobile was completely dominated by the mechanical and automobile engineers, but how we see the future, it is more to be do with the electrical, electronics, and the systems and communication engineers who will rule this particular world. So what I would give as a piece of advice is equip yourself in the future technology. It need not be the programming languages alone, or it can be something like a tool which will help you in designing a chip. It can be a tool which will help you in understanding more about batteries. How do you develop your skills in product development? How do you develop your skills in components development? How do you specialize yourself in a specific skill set? So all these are something which is important, I would say. Also develop all your business skill when it comes to communication, negotiation, interpersonal skills, etc., which are all key enablers to become a business lead, or the one who handles more of the interactions between the cross functional teams, etc. So build all your skills, which will also complement a lot more when it comes to mobility as a future for yourself. And always go beyond your imagination. Okay, don't be too conventional in terms of understanding a concept. So as I told you before, all the conventional concept of internal combustion engine when it comes to a petrol or a diesel engine is going to be ruled out. So learn a lot more about the batteries, the electric vehicles, etc. What it takes you to learn. So there are multiple training sessions, software coding sessions, or the embedded technology as a session which is being taught by different institutes are available. Learn more about it. So, and also I've given a quick glance about how this electric batteries are being ruling this particular world. So when it comes to batteries, there are four different types in those. One is lithium ion, the nickel metal, or lead acid, or ultra capacitors. And I've also given you a clear comparison, like what can do which thing. Okay, you see, when it comes to ease and inexpensive, lithium ion and lead acid takes up the advantage, and nickel ion and ultra capacitors are highly expensive, and it is not easy to access as well. When it comes to energy efficiency, again, lithium, nickel, lead acid, ultra capacitor, everything is good in that. When it comes to temperature performance, the lithium ion is far better than when nickel metal and lead acid. And ultra capacitor is also temperature good at temperature performance. When it comes to weight, I think every type of battery has taken up a bigger edge and has an advantage of its own. And when it comes to higher life cycle, lithium ion and lead acid has a longer life. So the replacement of batteries, or the maintenance of batteries, are much easier when it comes to lithium and lead acid. So the most of the batteries which are preferred in electric cars today for driving energy, for power or mobility, I would say, not the one which is used for accessing the electronic components. Other than that, the lithium ion battery is something which is preferred the most. And there are multiple new startups who have invested heavily in understanding the future battery technologies. And there are companies like which are by name like lithium, etc., which you can surf in Google and know more about it. And any other questions, team? Any other questions in this particular slide? What is that it takes for yourself to get ready for the future? It need not be mobility. Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. And the next slide, sir. So the next slide is almost like the final one. If you have any Q&As, we can answer them. You all have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So maybe I'll take another 2 to 3 minutes of yours. Okay. This is again going to be more like a tips for yourself being in the third year or final year of mechanical engineering. Okay. I'm not sure whether we have first and second year students. Okay. So it is more about how do you groom yourself when it comes to a campus placement or get ready into the market. Okay. So there are different things in which you got to develop yourself. So whatever company you're going to approach for the first time, or it can be any competitive exams you're going to take up, the first and foremost thing is more of a aptitude skills. Aptitude is nothing but more of a mathematical skill set what you have, okay, what you have studied in 11th standard, 12th standard. It is more to do with the mathematical problem solving ability of an individual, which will be tested in the first round, okay. So how do you groom yourself? So there are multiple materials available in Google, and there are standard books which is more like an RS Agarwal. I don't know whether you're familiar with that. So all these books will give you better knowledge, or the practice sessions for yourself to develop your mathematical skills, okay. And if you see, there will be some problems on numbers, problems on time and distance, problems on ages, problems on the other things, etc. So you got to prepare yourself in terms of the aptitude part of it, which is going to be your first round in any interview. Any interview, it can be either in a software company, it can be either in a core company, or it can be either for yourself to do your higher studies, either it can be a GMAT or a TNPC or anything. Aptitude is something where you got to spend your energy on for few months, I would say. The next thing is, how do you develop yourself in terms of confidence, gaining a confidence, or how do you develop your communication skills? Communication skills are something which can't be developed in a day, so it takes a longer duration, I would say. You need a practice for 3 to 4 hours every day. You got to spend for next 4 to 6 months to see a betterment yourself. So communication is something really crucial when you take up any skill set. Third comes your technical knowledge. Technical knowledge means that you got to fix up your mind, and fix up your specialization in which you want to master in, okay. So you have to make up your mind whether you want to do higher studies, or you want to join any organization, and prepare accordingly in terms of the technical aspects. Fourth comes your interview skills. How do you manage a group discussion? How do you manage a final interview? How do you do a mock training? So you got to group yourself up and get trained in terms of group discussions, or in terms of the mock interviews which happens in your college. Take help of your professors who can help you in conducting mock interviews, etc. So gear up yourself. Do not lose confidence. The market is again going to take up a bigger edge in next few months, or I would say every market is trying to take up its peak in next 3 to 4 months of time, once everyone is vaccinated and living safe, etc. So stay safe, stay healthy, okay. Utilize your time effectively, I would say. It is not that you got to keep preparing for your future. Spend your time leisurely in terms of entertainment, in terms of listening to your music, listening to a movie, or watching a movie, etc. All this can happen, but always again concentrate on different aspects. So your future is also very much important. Considering the situation getting back to normal, you got to prepare yourself for your future when it comes to higher studies or your career, okay. Any other questions, students?
So I think no, sir. Can we? Uh,
Yeah, I can hear you.
yes, sir. Thank you,
Is
sir,
there
for
any question?
enlightening. No, sir. I guess they're silent. I guess so.
Okay.
No one's answering. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for this, for enlightening us with your knowledge. Today's lecture was full of knowledge and thoughtful tips. It gave us deep insight into the topic and also revealed some interesting facts. The point
Yeah.
where Om Prakash sir told us the about the mobility solution was really informative. I'm pretty sure the precious knowledge and that Om Prakash sir gave us will definitely help us in our studies and future. Once again, I would like to thank you, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and enlightening us with this knowledge. Thank you so much, sir. Um, I would also like to thank our HOD, Dr. Karthikeyan, sir, for giving us permission to organize this lecture. And I thank our professor, Mr. Gnanasegaran sir, and Dr. Leela Vadandan sir to conduct this lecture, and also Ramesh sir to help us throughout this session. And I thank my management and our university. I also thank all the students present here for paying attention and learning. I hope you all follow the safety protocols given by the government and help our nation to fight against this pandemic. I would like to end my speech here. Thank you. Have a
Hello,
nice
sir.
day.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Vishal. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. What are your views on heavy duty trucks, sir? What about battery? Going battery on them?
So, so today, if you see the power which is used in heavy duty trucks are much higher
Yeah.
when it comes to when it is compared with a personal car or for a scooter or for a bikes. Okay. Today, we have not where the batteries can completely support the heavy duty trucks, but there is a transformation around those. So the complete automobile industry is working on an hybrid technology. Hybrid technology means that we will have both internal combustion engines and electric contributing to heavy vehicles.
So
How it
what
is
about
like when
fuel cells, sir?
fuel cells has taken up a backstage today. If you see maybe a decade ago, 10 years ago, fuel cells were assumed to be the future in terms of creating a pollution free environment, but today it has taken up a backstage. Now it is more to do with batteries, solar, etc.
But for heavy duty truck, it's not liable, for using directly battery because of the payload and other issues. So why is India not investing more on these heavy duty trucks
So
infrastructure?
as I told you before, heavy duty trucks require lot more energy. So today we do not have a capable battery which can support heavy duties when it comes to gaining a torque or power which needs to be delivered to a heavy duty truck. So as I told you before, now there are companies who have invested heavily in understanding the hybrid technology. Okay. So for example, whenever there is a requirement of a higher torque, when the heavy duty trucks are climbing a steep, okay, there will be internal combustion engines like diesel engine with turbochargers which will be enabled to support the power. And for example, whenever there is a truck which is in the downhill, when it is when the requirement of power or a torque is much lower, it is switched back to electric power. Okay. So this is more to do with the hybrid technology as on today. So today, if you see, there is investment for on hybrid technology when it comes to heavy duty trucks. To say
Okay, sir. So what's your views on hydrogen fuel cell technology?
again, hydrogen fuel cells are more on the experimental phase today. So it has not gone ahead and
No, sir.
implemented
Like
any.
many companies have come forward, right? It's already in practical use, but most of the company are trying to focus on the car industry. But car industry is much better using batteries. So most of them
Correct.
not focusing on trucks, right? So what are your views on that? So you can use this, for trucks, right?
But the investment in terms of uh, getting the concept proven, and when it comes to hydrogen technology in heavy duty trucks, there is always a business study, business strategy study which everyone would do. What is going to be my investment? Okay, so for example, I'll give you a best classic example. Okay, today if you see a normal car, okay, normal car with the petrol engine starts somewhere between 4 lakh to 5 lakh rupees. Okay, and if you got to which is called as an A segment vehicle, like an Alto or a Hyundai Eon, something of that sort. Okay, and if you say a medium sized vehicle which will range between 8 7 to 10 lakhs. Okay, when it comes to electric vehicle, the cost goes up by 50 to 70% in today's scenario. If you would have seen any vehicle in the market today, it would cost somewhere between 14 to 20 lakhs in India. There are multiple reasons for it. One is the infra has not completely developed. Second thing is the volume requirement today is much lower. So all this has a contributing effect when it comes to the commercial value of it. So when you wanted to invest more on the commercial trucks, the cost of that particular fleet goes up by 50 to 70%, I would say. And the buyers in the market are much lower. Okay, so when it comes to eco-friendly or environmental friendly, the government can put rules and regulations around the common public. When you put all these on the commercial vehicle, the average cost of any consumer goods will go up multiple times.
Sir, but government
Okay.
can give you subsidies, right? Like how they're giving in other countries, and the operation cost is almost reduced to 40% due to the fuel savings also. So you can take this in account also, right?
Yeah, so as I told you before, there are experiments around, so it is not taken up
Sir,
full. I would
for
say.
example, have you seen Hyundai Accent, a fuel cell truck? They've released this in Switzerland, so it's more
Okay.
operational over there.
Yeah. So the average cost in Switzerland is somewhere close to 3x today. If you consider a truck in India, it is costing somewhere between 30 lakhs to 40 lakhs.
So
If you
when I
consider a
calculated,
truck,
sir, like
yeah,
per kilometer for fuel cell, which I calculated in years, it's somewhere between 5.5. The same thing if you calculate it for diesel, it's somewhere between 9 and 10, the operational cost.
that's true. That's true. The operational cost is much lower,
So it's
but the initial
81%
investment is much
less.
higher.
Yes, sir. For initial investment, you can take government subsidies, sir.
Yeah, so I think the government has to take up a lot more edge on it. Today, the focus is not there because the focus is
The why
more
the focus
around
is not there is because
co-
no company is coming forward to take the risk, sir. That's the main reason what's happening.
one is that, but again, everyone has to have a business case. If they got to invest multiple crores in the new technology,
Yes,
developing
return on
new
investment
supply,
also is a reason.
investment is also a reason. True. Yeah, Vishal. Sorry, I missed you again.
No, sir, nothing. That was the
Okay,
question.
investment is again a bigger challenge for any automotive manufacturers. And the second thing is like the focus or the subsidies from the government is not completely focused on the commercial segments today. I would say it is more to do with the smart city infra development or bringing zero pollution personal vehicles. I would say non-commercial vehicles. I would say once all these are fixed in next few years, I think the attention from the government will turn towards the commercial vehicles as well. Today it is more sensitive to touch upon, so that's the reason government is not touching those area.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Vishal. Any other questions, team? Okay, I really enjoyed the session. So I'm happy that we had interactive session at the end as well. So thanks for giving me this opportunity. It was a lightning session for me. It is a pleasure to meet you all during this pandemic times through a virtual medium. So hopefully in future, maybe if we get an opportunity, we'll catch up again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Students, please fill the feedback form before leaving this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you
And
so much, sir.
Alan and Professor, is it possible to get a recording of this for my
Oh, yes,
reference?
sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'll ask Gnanasekar sir to send this. He's recording it. He'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and also you can also share me some feedbacks,
Sure,
so
sir.
that it will
Yes, sir.
help me a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you all. Thanks for being engaged. It was really pleasure again. Thank you. Thank you. We'll meet up again. So can I log off?
Sure, sir. Uh,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.